Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. We are back. This is United Daily Live. Apologies about that. It's typical. As soon as I start, a great big siren will go flying past the room. But nevertheless, we are here and we are live right now. Hope you guys are all doing well as we look at the latest news around Manchester United. And it's a little bit of a quiet news day, to be honest. Everyone is just obviously looking towards the restart of Premier League football in the middle of June, which isn't far away at all now. We're in the last days of May, June the 1st on Monday, and then we start looking at 2 weeks away from when Manchester United could possibly be playing their games, which is exciting for us that's been locked in our houses all the time and got nothing to watch, nothing to do. We're all getting pretty bored, even if it's behind closed doors. We're happy to see a little bit of ball in our lives. And today, we're looking at Alexis Sanchez's future. Whether that's going to be at Manchester United, Inter Milan or elsewhere. He's been linked with a move to various different clubs. He's been linked with a move back to Manchester United. And it was seemed Inter Milan didn't want any interest in keeping Alexis Sanchez at their club. But we hear today that they have extended their loan deal of Sanchez until the end of the current campaign. We still don't know when that will be in Italy. And there's a plan on giving him a chance to cement a spot in the team. Now, their transfer policy may have changed, which may see the way they look at Alexis Sanchez to be a little bit more different. There's also a lot of rumours surrounding the future of Lautaro Martinez. So they may think if we can keep Alexis Sanchez, it makes replacing him a little bit easier. I don't think they'd be right in thinking that. I think Martinez is a player that's, beginning to rise and he's going to hit his peak, whereas Alexis Sanchez is in the downward curve of his career and he's probably at the very end of that downward curve as well. So, I don't think personally that would be a replacement that works, but they may now be thinking, hold up a minute. Lautaro Martinez is going to leave. Alexis Sanchez is here. Let's give him an opportunity to actually prove something. And then let's see where we can go from here and if we can keep him. So we're hearing talk about all of that. We'll get the full story and we'll get those quotes from Inter Milan. And we'll also be answering your questions. And if there's any news stories that you want me to cover, then get them in, because I've been looking around today. And this was pretty much the main one that I could find with anything worth talking about. I couldn't really find any new news stories today, which is surprising. I don't want to look at some of the proper fake news transfer rumours. That's just not something I won't do. I will look at some transfer rumours every now and then. But when they're clearly, you start thinking, that's not true. That one can't be true. I don't want to start doing that. So Andre was watching the Leverkusen game yesterday. I haven't watched any football since the first one. I just can't do it. Sean says the members video was quality yesterday. And for you guys that don't know, thank you, Sean. You guys that don't know, the members video, the second members video went out yesterday, and it's a great little throwback, some archive footage from my cameras and my phones from down the years, and we looked at one of the best Manchester United games I've ever been to, with shots from the crowd as well. And this game was actually, we wore this shirt in that game, so you may actually think and be able to know what game it is. But if you want to check it out, click join and you can get that members video and also the first ever members video, which was myself, Juan Mata, Ander Herrera and Sam Homewood having a little bit of a kick around, and we had the behind the scenes of that. So feel free to go and check that one out right now, guys. But let us know what you lot are thinking in those comments about all the stuff we're going to chat about today. And we've got Alexis Sanchez to talk about as well. So yeah, keep your thoughts coming in. Let me see what you lot are saying in the comments. United should sell Pereira to Dortmund, says Sam. No, I don't think that's going to happen. La Liga the weekend before too. Is La Liga coming back? I've not really seen the updates on La Liga, to be honest. What's happening, Dimas? Hope you're good, mate. Just imagine though if Sanchez came back and bossed the league. That's not going to happen either, Callum. But the Red, how you doing, man? It's all kicking off. Yeah, it's all kicking off, mate. It's going mad. But we're here anyway. The next Football Manager video, Nathan, is up later on today. So make sure you're keeping it locked for that as well. But let's look at this Alexis Sanchez story. Manchester United could offload Alexis Sanchez this summer as Inter Milan chief confirms the club's transfer plans. So Man United boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could be given a major boost to his transfer plans, as the club might still have the opportunity to offload Alexis Sanchez this summer. This is because Inter Milan haven't ruled out an extension to his current loan deal. The 31-year-old is currently on a season-long loan deal at Inter, but has struggled to make an impact since arriving at the San Siro. He scored 1 goal, provided 3 assists in 15 appearances for the Nerazzurri this campaign. However, the Chilean's integration into the squad was hampered by an ankle injury, which sidelined him for around 3 months. But despite his limited minutes, Inter sporting director Pierre Arcilio still hasn't ruled out seeking an extension to his current loan spell. He'll stay with us until the end of the season, then we'll decide about his future with Man United, Arcilio told Sky Sports Italia. He'll have the opportunity to show his skills. If Sanchez was to extend his stay in Italy with another loan spell, it would be good news for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The Reds would be in a position to offer better terms to their own summer transfer targets, knowing that they wouldn't have to accommodate the winger's entire £400,000 a week salary next season, or spend time finding him another club. Solskjaer did say in January that Alexis will come back in the summer and prove you all wrong. But I think that was just Ollie being Ollie, and having to put a brave face on things and keep positive and keep talking in a good light, because you don't want to make your players' value drop either, do you? You don't want to make that value drop on your players. So you have to keep just saying, yeah, we'll take him back, we'll bring him back in at Man United, when actually you might not do that. So, yeah. Alexis Sanchez. Do I think he's going to stay? June the 12th for La Liga. I've been reminded. So June the 12th. La Liga comes back before the Premier League. I'm actually a bit more excited about La Liga than I am about, the German football. But nevertheless, more excited about the Premier League coming back. But Alexis Sanchez staying at Inter Milan beyond this year on a loan deal. I can't see them buying him permanent. Maybe a loan deal is the best United can hope for, with someone paying a percentage of his wages. And it shows you how disastrous that move has been. And the coronavirus isn't going to help any other clubs coming in for him and saying, yeah, we'll take Alexis Sanchez, we'll take a little gamble on him. We'll take him on, I don't know, a cheap deal and pay his wages or whatever, because they're not going to think it's possible. And they're going to know United's position. United are in a position where we've got a player that we don't want. No matter what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says, whether he says, he could do this or he could do that, or he's going to come. He doesn't believe that. None of us believe that. 1 goal in 3 assists in 15 appearances for Inter Milan. He's not going to do anything more than that in the Premier League for United, and he's not going to justify his wage at the club. We have to get rid of this guy from the club. It's as simple as that. We have to get rid of him. There's no point keeping Alexis Sanchez. £375,000 a week doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense keeping him at all. And like was said in that article, I don't believe much of what is written in articles, but the fact is, and it's an opinion, that if you get rid of him, it's easier to sign players. They're not going to be demanding such ridiculous wages as Alexis Sanchez. And it's easier to get your current players to agree to deals as well. How hard does that make it for United? When we're discussing a deal, let's say Paul Pogba wants to sign a new deal, or even like when you look at Ander Herrera wanting to sign a new deal, when you're paying Alexis Sanchez so much money, it weakens your position. Paul Pogba can say, I want £500,000 a week, and possibly justify it because of what Alexis Sanchez is on, and not justifying it. Ander Herrera could justify £300,000 a week, which was less than Sanchez, because of the fact that, Sanchez is doing fuck all, and I'm one of the players that when I play, the team normally plays a lot better. And obviously, Herrera wasn't worth that kind of money, but he could justify it in negotiations. And it made United's negotiation position a lot worse off when dealing with players and dealing with our own current players. And we just need to get rid of him. Please get rid of him. It's as simple as that. Guys, get hitting that like button, get commenting, get sharing, get subscribing, get joining if you can as well. Anyone feels sorry for Sanchez as Callum? From a human perspective, yes, but from a footballing perspective, no. Like, it must be difficult for him to have played at such a high level for a decent period of time in the Premier League, and then all of a sudden to just go that must be hard to mentally adjust to, and physically when you're trying as a footballer, he's trying to do X, Y, and Z, but it's just not happening for you. That must be difficult for him. But at the same time, he's paid an awful lot of money, and from a footballing perspective, you just need to get rid of him. It's as simple as that. You can't start feeling sorry for people in negotiations. We must pay all of his contract if we want to sell him, says Andre, and that's why it's more likely that United would send him out on loan rather than let someone pay off his wages, allow him to go elsewhere. They'd rather let someone just pay half of his wages, I'd imagine, than having to pay his full contract out. If we sold Sanchez for 10 million, there would be takers. Eddie's just greedy, says Minnie. I don't think the price fee tag, even you can't even justify that, but I don't think the price tag comes into it. I think actually if United found someone that would pay his wages, they'd probably let him go for free. Simon Crazy Vape says he's got to leave, he's just not a United player. Come on guys, we love him really, says FC United forever. Sign Camavinga from Rennes as a replacement for Paul Pogba, says Sam. Paul Pogba's not gone anywhere yet. Let's keep loaning him out until his contract expires. Who'd want to buy him when he's clearly not good enough? As good as he was, he's on a steady decline and his wages are ridiculously high, says Fitzroy. 10 mil is crazy thinking of how we got him from Arsenal, but I will take it any day, says Dennis. His head is gone, his legs have gone, and his career is unfortunately gone, says Sean, with a damning indictment of Alexis Sanchez's time. It's just been a bad time, hasn't it? It hasn't got better since that announcement video when he was playing the piano. I thought that was pretty cool. He had 1 or 2 performances for United, Spurs at Wembley, Man City in the derby when we come from behind 2-0, Arsenal in the Cup. But apart from those 3 games, I cannot really remember a game where I thought Alexis Sanchez played well for us. I genuinely can't. And you can count those, you can literally count it on one hand how many games he's played well for us. Even if I am missing 1 or 2, I doubt it's more than 5. He's just not been good enough at all for Manchester United. Steady decline, it was a sharp drop off. Yeah, he fell off a cliff. I agree we should let him go for nothing to get rid of his wages, says Adam. I'm watching UFC tonight. Yes, I'll be watching the UFC tonight. Not a big fan. I don't think the UFC is as affected by the crowds. And it's probably enhanced by the lack of a crowd because you can hear the digs and you can hear them talking to each other. And you can hear all that kind of thing. Not a big fan of Alexis, but deep down I feel that instead of loaning him and paying his wages, he should be given a chance at United, says Mekri. The only person so far that has said he needs to be given a chance at United. Nick Muller, thank you for joining us as an Ipswich fan. Matt Connor, thank you for joining us as well. Formal £5 million bid and let him go, says Andre. I bet we wish we could get £5 million for him right now. I pay 5 months of his wages or 4 months of his wages. Do you think Mourinho's style of play played a part in his downfall, says Benson? Maybe, possibly, but I wouldn't say that was the reason why Alexis Sanchez failed to work. Jose Mourinho actually gave him a lot of opportunities to play. He favoured him over Anthony Martial, who was on 10 goals and 10 assists for the season when he arrived in January. He put Alexis in his position and was giving him the chance. We gave him the number 7 shirt. Everything was rosy for him. He had the chances there. He just didn't perform. Now, you could say he had already burnt out at Arsenal. And when he was at Arsenal, we kind of just thought, has he just fell out of love with Arsenal? Is it not there because he doesn't want to be there? We couldn't really tell, but it looked like he was just done there. Jose went at Arsenal with him at those last few years. So I don't think you can blame Jose Mourinho. You could maybe say that was his training style or, demanding so much of him physically, maybe defensively, harming him in terms of how much he could do in the attack. But Alexis Sanchez is naturally like that. Alexis Sanchez reminds me of someone like Rooney in the sense that he'll cover every he'll run back when he doesn't need to. When he plays his best. I don't mean Rooney's a much better player than him. And he's a much bigger player for Manchester United. So think I'm comparing the two as a player, but I mean in their engines. They don't need to be told by a manager to run around and do things. But Alexis's legs had gone. It looks like his heart went in it. I don't think you can blame Jose Mourinho for that. Do you reckon Alexis even cares about playing at United or at all, or playing at the highest level, says Harris? It's hard to comment on that without knowing from his side, you know what I mean? Sean says Arsenal lost him at the right time. Sanchez could easily go to LA Galaxy and make his career rise against Andre. He's also been linked with Inter Miami as well. We can't pay off the rest of his contract because it would set up a precedent for it to happen again, and we would look unprofessional and soft. That's a good point as well. Sanchez to MLS, he has a Chilean fan base there. Says Matthew. That man Dan says he does think that was a bad move all around. Regardless if he went to City or not, we didn't need him. Should never have come. He agreed with Benson that Mourinho's style of play could have been a part in his downfall, but he still didn't need to come. So basically saying it was a signing that did not need to happen. What's going on, Oman? Who's just woken up? Hope you're doing well, mate. Good morning, good afternoon. What time is it where you are? You in the UK? It's a bit of a late one, isn't it? Football Manager video is coming up today, later on today as well. Got to get that edited in a bit, and then we'll get that uploaded. It's a little bit of a long edit, so I can't tell you when it will be up, but it will be up today at some point later on in the evening. Inter Miami would be a good move for all parties, says Sean. And if we remember from not long ago, probably about a month ago, 2 months ago, we heard from a few reports that he had bought a property in Miami, and that kind of fueled some rumours that he was going there. Inter Miami wanted to sign James Rodriguez. That move seemingly fell through, and it looked like Alexis Sanchez could possibly be their marquee signing. But again, who knows if that's going to happen right now. But the latest news for you guys that are joining us late is that Inter Milan will extend the loan of Alexis Sanchez until the end of the current campaign and plan on giving him a chance to cement a spot in the first team. Their sporting director has also spoken about the possibility of extending their deal at the end of the season for another year. Now that might not be what we want. We might want to get rid of him, but it might be United's best option if we can keep him where he is on loan. Now with Inter Milan possibly losing Lautaro Martinez, who's been linked with a whole host of different clubs, it looks like this could be something that they're thinking about. Maybe they're going to give him a chance in order to see if he will be able to fill that spot. But I don't think he can. Like I said before, Martinez is someone that's on the up and he's someone that's on the down. Interesting story regarding PSG. Have reached a 45 million agreement with Inter to sign Mauro Icardi. So they're obviously taking Icardi as well. And that's 45 million pounds there. So let's have a look at this. Yep. So we're looking at Fabrizio Romano's latest report. Sorry, I was just reading it. With that, Inter and PSG were confident on a deal for Mauro Icardi, and then that deal has happened. 45 million pounds for Mauro Icardi, who will be heading to PSG on a permanent deal. Obviously, not played with Sanchez this season. And then we look at if Barca contacted Lautaro, they know they must pay his release clause or he'll not leave Inter. We didn't speak with Lautaro about Barca because we want to keep him. Arturo Vidal, we're not working to get him. So now they're trying to fight off teams from Lautaro Martinez, but he does have a release clause there. Now, if Barcelona pay that, they'll obviously have him. But let's see what happens with that one as well. But the latest news is they've agreed a deal for Icardi to go to PSG on a permanent for 45 million euros. Just give us 2 million of that, man, and take Sanchez. That man Dan's going to get on the FM. Give me a shout on the Discord. We could probably set up, not for now, but we could probably set up for like the future, a little draft kind of thing. Icardi is nuts. We should have already tried. B4 says 2 tiers. think it's his agent that people just don't want to work with, isn't it? His agent. People don't want to work with him. Simple as that. Icardi is worth more than £45 million. Bargain. Is this a sign of a deflated market this summer? Says Daniel Hazel. Also that he was always going to leave, wasn't he? He was always going to leave. They wanted to get rid of him. 45 million is very cheap, but you know, I think that was a deal made with PSG. You know, if United come in for him, they're asking for all sorts of different money. Not a lot of clubs can afford the Martinez release clause right now. That's true as well. Adam Iachi is watching from Cape Town. I'll chuck another link out for the Discord later, Dan, so you can get on it. Or give me a comment on one of the community posts, and we'll send you a new link. Andre says Icardi is a fail. We don't need him. There's no other news about really, guys. It's a proper dead one today. Not a lot of news about. Not a lot of anything about. Just absolutely quiet. All getting ready for the future. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer may have signed the next nanny. Not going to press that. Man United might have the perfect Premier League fixture list for Project Restart. One of the disappointments of Man United's trip to Tottenham being called off when the Premier League season was sent into lockdown in March was missing out on the chance to see Jose Mourinho respond to a rare verbal barb from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The Norwegian had already conducted his pre-match press conference discussing Spurs and Mourinho in the bowels of the Linzer Stadion late on the night of Thursday, March the 12th, as is customary for United in the Europa League. It was there in front of the usual suspects that Solskjaer faces in these scenarios every week that he let the mask slip under questioning about Mourinho's complaints around injuries recently. It was put to Solskjaer that he's had comparable issues, missing Pogba and Rashford for that scheduled trip as he was. His response was telling, "Yeah, but I don't want to talk about those two, do I? I want to focus on the ones who are fit. It's part and parcel of this game that you do have injuries." It was less than a subtle jibe at Mourinho and suggested the cordiality that the current and former United boss had maintained might about to disappear. But barely 12 hours later the season was suspended and Mourinho never got the right to reply. Basically, the journalists never got a chance to wind everyone up and shit stir. But it is an interesting comment from Ollie, and it's clearly like could be a little veiled dig at Jose Mourinho, because Jose always complained, didn't he? He always complained, whereas Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been the complete opposite of Jose Mourinho in terms of in the press. He's been positive at times when you think, whoa, come on, there's no need to be that positive. Whereas Jose would be angry when there was no need to be that angry, or there was no benefit to being that angry. Now, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in terms of his man management and the way he deals with press, is he'll be positive in front of the press if he needs to. But when speaking directly with his players, whether that's from pitch side or whether that's from behind closed doors, he says what needs to be said. He's not scared to say what needs to be said. So I don't buy this theory that Oli is a nice guy all the time. He is a nice guy. Met him a couple of times, but as a fan, I think if you work with him or work for him, he has a ruthlessness. He has a little bit in him where he can tell the difference between, you know, someone taking the piss or someone that needs a little bit of positivity or whatever. And I think that's benefited him so far. Obviously, you would have had a big benefit of him not just being Jose Mourinho at a point when he come in, and you could argue maybe anybody would have got a lift out of them. But to do it over a long period of time and to make the whole team spirit feel a little bit different, to make the crowd and the grounds, the going to games feel a little bit different. Some of the performances have been the same. We're in a similar position in the league, but we feel like there's been progression made. We feel like our team's in better shape. We feel like we have a club and a team and a managers and staff that are all on the same page in order to trying to achieve the same thing. And that's what you need. And unfortunately under Jose Mourinho at the end, we never had that. It became fractious. Now you could say that was because of the board not backing him in the summer prior to that. But you don't burn down your house because they've, you know, fuck something. Like, it didn't make sense for him to do that. He burnt the house down on his way out. And he knew he was gone. He knew he'd lost his head. The club knew he'd lost his head. The club made mistakes as well, quite clearly. But getting rid of him wasn't one. Because of the way he was towards the end. But yeah, you could argue as well the board made him that way. Which is a totally fair argument. Ollie is doing for the right things for me. I'll back him. We'll hear if Ollie's vocal with an empty stadium, says Anish. Yeah, that's going to be good, isn't it? Real Madrid want to swap 4 players for Pogba. I don't know the credibility in that, but I like that idea, says Fitzroy. Yeah, I doubt there's any credibility in it. We're not going to swap players for him. I'm definitely not going to swap 4 players for him. It's just not going to happen. It's impossible. How are you going to agree 4 different deals? Like, one of them will fall through and then the move will fall through. How you doing, Medemail? He's jumped to the start, so he's probably not even heard that until he gets to this point. What are your 5 ideal signings, money and window aside? How you doing, Edwill, by the way? Adam, my 5 ideal signings, money and windows aside, would be Jadon Sancho, Jack Grealish, a defensive midfielder in the mould of a Camavinga, a Thomas Partey, someone in there that we can work on and get better and use as the time goes by. That's 3. A centre-back, you know, like Upamecano, Koulibaly, someone like that. So we get into the mix. Apart from that, I think we're about 4 or 5 players away from being a full squad. Ben says it's going to be mint to hear what the players and managers are saying it, and not it being in German. They're all going to be doing this when they shout, but you're still going to hear what they say. If Jose was back by the board, we would have won many titles, says Prince. Zlatan's injury cost Mourinho the job. As soon as he was out, Mourinho lost the dressing room, Anthony says. Anthony, that's something that I've said a lot of times, you know, and I'm glad someone else has said it as well, because it kind of makes me feel more sensible for saying that. Like, I've often thought that. I thought losing Zlatan, because Mourinho, like, if players fell out with Mourinho, they could look to Zlatan as an example of, okay, Zlatan's worked with this guy, he's been successful with him, he loves him. There has to be a reason for that. I love Zlatan. Zlatan loves Jose. Maybe I should love Jose too, and we should just get behind him. And there'd be a sense of that, or maybe Jose being able to tell Zlatan to have conversations with people, or people having conversations with Zlatan. Being an intermediary, you could see he could be that, and that respect and everything was there, and that connection with the manager. Rui Faria and Zlatan probably kept Jose a lot happier too, having those kind of people and those familiar faces around him. Once he lost them and it became the manager and the players, he lost it. And I think having Zlatan in that dressing room was a big, big help. Let's say at best we secure Sancho and Ighalo. What do you think the goal is next year, says Brian? I think that could possibly be who we sign this summer and the only signings we make. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Brian, if we got that, I'd say the target for next season has to be to comfortably finish in the top 4. Not to be a Champions League race, not to be a top 4 race. United to be firmly a top 4 club. Maybe finishing in the top 3 and closing that gap on Liverpool and City. I'm not going to say close it completely, but start closing it. We need to have a much more confident season. There may be a period where you think, actually, could we win the league? But it's not going to be the case. We just need to continue that progression. And I think with a signing or 2, Ollie would have no complaints. Ollie would have no complaints at all in terms of having to get results. If we give him Sancho and we give him an Ighalo or something till January or to the end of the season on a permanent or whatever, and we give him, the players that 2-3 more players that he needs, no excuses not to get the results in most games, barring massive amounts of injuries. Losing Lord Zlatan's presence was a huge loss. Good points. I've never thought of it myself, says Dan. Reckon Ollie planning to bring Haaland next summer. It feels, says Rodri, it feels like we're going somewhere under Ollie. Maybe a rocky road though. If we sacked him, it'd feel like square one again, and I'm not sure about that. Yeah, that's the thing with Ollie. I trust in what he's doing. Whether he's the man to do it in the long term or not is another story. But I feel he's put in the foundations there that even if he did get sacked next season or he left, someone could come in and actually build on top of that. I think the foundations are definitely there for success, especially when you look at some of the players we've signed and some of the players we have, the longevity that we possibly have is just, you know, for me, it's a much better squad than we have had in a long time, and probably the best squad that we've had since Sir Alex Ferguson left in terms of being able to build something and have a long-term success. Anyway, I've been rambling on a little bit. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Make sure you're keeping it locked. You're liking, you comment, you're sharing, subscribing. Remember, we've got that Football Manager video coming up for you guys later on as well, so keep it locked for that. And for now, I have been Adam McKola. You lot have been legends. I'm out of it.